Dawn broke over the river, painting the sky in orange and pink. The first light shimmered on the water's surface, casting long shadows and illuminating the mist that drifted lazily above the current. It was a moment suspended between night and day, where everything felt possible, and the world seemed to hold its breath. I sat quietly in my boat, the water's gentle rhythm grounding me. Each ripple against the hull was a soft reminder that I was part of something ancient and enduring. The silence was profound, broken only by the distant call of a heron and the soft lap of water against wood. This was my sanctuary, where the world was silent and the river whispered its secrets. Here, surrounded by nature's quiet embrace, I could let go of the noise and worries of daily life. The river offered a rare kind of peace, one that seeped into my bones and lingered long after I left its banks. I've spent my life chasing legends on waters like these, always searching for the story beneath the surface. Every bend in the river, every swirling eddy, seemed to promise a new adventure or a hidden truth waiting to be discovered. Today, I wasn't just fishing for a meal, I was chasing a myth. The thrill of the unknown pulled me forward, urging me to cast my line into the depths and see what secrets the river might reveal. Local tales spoke of the River King, a giant sturgeon said to haunt these waters for a century. Some claimed to have glimpsed its massive shadow gliding beneath the surface, while others swore they'd heard its splash echo through the fog at dawn. Most dismissed it as folklore, but I believed legends often hold a grain of truth. Stories passed down through generations have a way of shaping the soul of a place, and I was determined to find out if this legend was more than just a tale. My rod was ready, line cast, a fragile link between me and the unknown. Each cast was a question, each tug a possible answer from the deep. I felt the weight of anticipation in my hands, the hope that today might be the day I'd meet the River King. The anticipation was electric. Any moment the calm could shatter. Every tiny ripple sent my heart racing, every subtle movement beneath the surface hinting at something extraordinary lurking below. I was here for more than a catch. I was on a quest for a living ghost. The river was both my adversary and my ally, holding its mysteries close, daring me to uncover them. The river held its breath, and so did I. In that hush, I felt the weight of every story ever told about these waters, and the promise that, just maybe, I was about to become part of the legend myself. Hours slipped by, the sun burning away the mist. The world was quiet except for the gentle lapping of water against the hull, and the distant calls of waking birds. Time seemed to stretch and blur, each minute blending into the next as I waited, hopeful and restless for any sign of life beneath the surface. I rebaited, patience thinning, the river indifferent to my hopes. Each cast felt heavier than the last, my optimism slowly replaced by doubt. The river, ancient and unmoved, offered no hints, no ripples, no promise of reward. Still, I persisted, driven by the stories and the possibility of something extraordinary lurking below. Just as I considered moving, the rod jerked violently, a force that nearly pulled it from the holder. My heart leapt, startled by the suddenness, my mind racing to catch up with what was happening. The reel screamed, adrenaline surged. This was no ordinary fish. The sound cut through the morning calm, a wild electric thrill that sent a jolt through my veins. I knew instantly that I was connected to something powerful, something that demanded all my focus. My hands gripped the rod, feeling the immense weight on the line, every muscle tensed, bracing against the pull. As I tried to steady myself and keep control, the rod bowed, creaking under the strain, and I realized this was a test of strength and will. It was like hooking the riverbed itself, until the bottom began to move. The resistance was immense, unyielding, and then, impossibly, it shifted, alive and determined to escape. My boat drifted, pulled by something massive and deliberate. The current seemed to change, the world narrowing to the struggle between angler and unseen giant. I could feel the raw power on the other end, a force of nature intent on breaking free. Was this the River King, the legend come alive? I remembered the old tales, whispered by locals, of a fish so large and cunning it had never been caught. Now, with every tug and surge, the myth felt closer than ever. The fish surged, taking more line, testing my resolve. The reel spun furiously, the line slicing through water, and I fought to keep my grip, refusing to let go. Fights like this are marathons, not sprints. Every second demanded patience, strategy, and endurance. I steadied my breathing, knowing that rushing would only end in heartbreak. I braced myself, knowing this was just the beginning. The battle would be long, and I had to be ready for every twist and turn, every sudden run or desperate lunge. The river had revealed a secret, and now I had to prove myself worthy. This was more than a catch. It was a challenge, a moment that would test everything I'd learned on these waters. Every second, the myth felt more real. The battle had begun, and I was determined to see it through no matter what the river had in store. The fight was a brutal dance. Give and take, power and patience. Each moment felt like a test, a contest of endurance between two determined forces. The river roared around us, adding to the intensity, as if nature itself was watching, waiting to see who would prevail. The fish ran hard, line screaming off the reel. I let it, careful not to snap the line. My arms ached, sweat stinging my eyes, but I couldn't lose focus. Every second demanded total concentration. The rod trembled in my grip, and I could feel the raw power of the creature on the other end, surging through the line and into my bones. When the fish slowed, I reeled in, clawing back precious feet of line. Sometimes I gained ground, sometimes I lost it all in seconds. The battle was unpredictable. One moment, hope surged as the fish tired. The next, it exploded with renewed energy, threatening to undo all my progress. The hours blurred. My world shrank to the rod, the line, and the unseen giant below. Every surge, every headshake was a test of will. My senses sharpened, blocking out everything but the struggle at hand. The riverbank, the sky, even time itself faded away, replaced by the relentless tug-of-war. This was more than a fish, it was a force of nature. Slowly, I sensed it tiring. The runs grew shorter, the pressure eased. I could feel the shift, the subtle change in the battle's rhythm. The fish's strength was legendary, but even legends have limits. My muscles burned, but excitement pushed me on. The mystery was about to surface. I could almost see it in my mind's eye, a flash of scales, a glimpse of the river's secret. Every heartbeat brought me closer to the moment I dreamed of. I reeled steadily, heart pounding. The fish was close, closer than ever. Anticipation and anxiety mixed inside me, each turn of the reel drawing the unknown into the light. I held my breath, knowing the final moments would decide everything. Soon I'd meet the legend face to face. The river's secret was rising. In that instant, all the struggle, all the waiting would be worth it. The battle was nearly over, but the story was just beginning. The water erupted in a massive swirl, my first glimpse of the giant's power. A dark shape materialized, impossibly long, rising from the depths. It was a sturgeon, but larger than any I'd imagined. Its armored back broke the surface, prehistoric and majestic. The fish dwarfed my boat, exhausted but regal. I guided it alongside, awestruck by its size and ancient presence. Its skin was rough, its body pure muscle, a living relic. The head was shovel-shaped, barbels trailing, eyes small and wise. There was no fear, only a calm, ancient weariness. The River King was real, more magnificent than any story. I felt privileged, connected to something timeless. This was not just a catch, but a moment of reverence. I ran my hand over its armored back, feeling the weight of history. The legend lived right beside me. With the giant resting beside my boat, I moved quickly but gently. I measured its length. 15 feet, a record breaker. Pride surged, but awe soon replaced it. I scanned for a tag, not expecting much. The device beeped. A tag, decades old. Data loaded, tagged in 1926, as a 3-foot juvenile. My mind raced. This fish was at least 100 years old. It had survived floods, wars, and the rise of modern life. The realization was staggering. This was a living witness to a century of change. The thrill of the catch faded, replaced by humility. I was holding history in my hands. The River King had endured for generations. Its story was bigger than mine. 100 years, a number that echoed in my mind. This fish was more than a record. It was a survivor, a living piece of history. It had outlasted predators, floods, droughts, and human threats. Its armored body told a story of resilience and luck. I saw a monarch of the river, a genetic treasure. As a large, healthy female, she'd given life to generations. To kill her would erase a vital part of the river's future. My perspective shifted. This was no longer about me. I was her guardian, not her conqueror. Our lives had intersected for a reason. My responsibility was clear: protect her, honor her journey. The real legacy was ensuring she could swim free. The River King deserved to reign on. The choice was clear. I had to let her go. Some would see a lost trophy, but I saw a duty to the river. This fish was a symbol of what's possible when nature is protected. Killing her would be like destroying a monument. She belonged to the river, to the future. Releasing her was my way of saying thank you. True anglers know the greatest fish must be returned. These giants are the lifeblood of the ecosystem. My actions had to reflect respect and stewardship. The real trophy was the memory, not the kill. I promised myself and the river. Her story would not end with me. She would swim on, a legend renewed. The decision brought peace, a promise kept. It was time to say goodbye. I held her head gently, facing her into the current, letting oxygen-rich water revive her. I whispered thanks, not for her ears, but for my own heart. For minutes I felt her strength return. A powerful flick of her tail signaled she was ready. I released my grip. She lingered, then turned with regal calm. She slipped into the depths, her shadow fading from view. The river was quiet, the moment surreal. My arms ached, but my spirit soared. I had given the story back to the river. The River King was free to rule again. I was now part of her century-long journey. That was the true prize. I had made a promise to the river, and kept it. The legend would live on. As I motored upstream, the world looked unchanged, but I was transformed. I'd come seeking a legend and found a lesson in humility and respect. The true trophy wasn't a photo or a record, it was the memory, the connection, the act of letting go. Somewhere below, the River King still swam, a beacon of hope and wonder. Our wild places are treasures worth protecting. We are all guardians. Every choice matters. I never revealed the River King's location. That was my gift back to her. I hope she lives for many more years, inspiring awe in those who follow. The greatest honor is not in the catching but in the releasing. The most valuable trophies are the ones we leave in the wild. That's the story I'll carry forever.